diner of New Orleans. It's a place that's open 24 hours a day, and it's a tourist place, but also a lot of like locals go there too. So I was walking by this place a year after the storm, and I saw that it was completely covered in Post-it notes. And there was a bucket with a pen and a bunch of Post-it notes, and someone had taken a piece of loose leaf paper and written, "Write a love note to Camellia Grill," because the restaurant was closed. And people had done that. There were about 500 Post-it notes covering the entire restaurant. It was like all Post-it notes. And so I went and copied them all down, and now I really wonder where they are. I hope they're preserved somewhere. I'm sure they're not, though. But they tell such a story of not just how people feel about a certain restaurant, but how the people of the city feel about Katrina and everything that's happened. There are only like 7 of them in the poem. I wish all 500 were, but I'd be here all night reading them. But they were really amazing. You'll be able to tell which ones are in here. So you have to imagine the closed restaurant. You can look in the windows and it's perfectly preserved, and then all of these Post-it notes where people have written letters. Write a love note to Camellia Grill. Hundreds of Post-it notes stuck on the windows. Dear Camellia Grill, I can't bear the thought of you not being here. Dear streetcar gone that shuttered down the avenue. Dear neutral ground effaced. Last meal at Camellia, 18 days pre-K. Potato, onion, and cheese omelet. Pecan waffle, chocolate freeze. Dear dead bleached grass. Dear leaf-choked gutters. Dear drainage pumps. Late night here drunk and loved it. Dear levee. Dear rusted barge. Dear rope swing. Your milkshakes bring all the boys. So many of us grew up eating here. We need you to open to feel more normal. Dear empty grill. Dear freeze machine. Dear jar of marmalade. Dear phone book split and open on a table. My parents dated here and I dated here. Dear chrome and glass. Dear counter. Sparkled linoleum. Dear girl I once was, smoking at that counter, writing boys' names on a napkin. New Orleans has lost Schwegmans, K&B, Mackenzie's. It can't take another New Orleans establishment to be gone forever. Dear wind that distills the empty city. I will come every day with 100 people. Dear damage. I had my first date here. We got married. Come home. Dear forgotten. I'm going to stay hungry forever. Dear girl I once was, dear lost city, dear girl now standing at the window reading, I'm pregnant, come back. So I'm going to end with 2 final poems. One is going to be about Mississippi and Alabama. If you all read Natasha Trethewey's op-ed piece in the Week in Review in the Sunday Times, she reminds us of something important, which is that the storm did not affect only New Orleans, but the whole Gulf Coast. And so every year I drive from Alabama, Mississippi to New Orleans on Highway 90, which is called Hurricane Alley now, the road that runs along by the Gulf of Mexico, and where most everything is gone, and really the only thing that's been rebuilt are the casinos, because they bring in the money. And this poem is about that, about the things that are gone, and also about that language. I'm starting to speak the language of disaster, he says, and we keep driving through Mississippi, Highway 90, Hurricane Alley, on our way to New Orleans. And he says, that one's blue-roofed, that one's gone, and we stop to see an address on a tabletop leaned against a tree, a number spray-painted on wood. There's no house. Private property, keep out, do not demo. We are here together on a tour of the gone. 3 porch steps for sale by owner. A beach trolley at the edge of the road like a huge stunned animal. Tour historic Biloxi. Gulfport Economy Inn. IHOP. Jefferson Davis's Beauvoir House. All that's left of an address he calls the new lexicon. The spray-painted X, the house marked O. Dog found. Stone foundation threaded with beads that are no language. Still, you can tell where a house once stood, he says, by the clearing. A front gate is for sale by owner. all that's left of an address, missing a whole story. And for my final poem, I'm going to read a poem about a very well-known New Orleans beloved landmark. New Orleans, as you know, is not only flat, right, it's below sea level. So there's a hill that was built allegedly to show children what a hill was like, and it's just like as high as this, Monkey Hill. It really is, I'm not exaggerating. And it was a big hangout place in childhood at high school, this hill, and still is. It's right by the river. And the other thing in this poem is it was the 70s, so it was 5th grade science, and we made our own rockets, and we were given our own pack of matches each, and we lit them, and they exploded and sank into the Mississippi River, something that I know would never happen now. If you can imagine a bunch of 10-year-olds given packs of matches by their school standing there, right? But anyway, it made a huge impression on me, and some of my friends and I still talk about these rockets in the Mississippi River over Monkey Hill. So here's my last poem, which is called Monkey Hill. The best part was losing what we'd made, the moment when the rocket disappeared. Lying beside my daughter in her bed all night, hand flat on her back, waiting for her skin to cool, twisting her wet hair away from her face. Tell stories, she insists, from when you were little. The story of 20 years later, when the river drowns the town. In 5th grade science, we shot our rockets off the levee. Mrs. Cosgrove lined us up beside the hill. We lit each match, and each rocket, balsa wood and poster paint, arced over the flat water of the Mississippi, sank. Welcome to New Orleans' oldest mountain. No, not that story, not yet. Cool sheet, I whisper, lifting it over my daughter's small, hot body, as if I could erase her fever. Fake Hill, we all knew, built by the city, built to show the children. A truckload of sand shoveled up in 1933. 14, I sat at the top and smoked my mother's cigarettes, watched the water, waited. Already I called the intent the past. I could look backward. We shot our rockets, our hands singed, ash on our palms. Tell story, my daughter whispers, skin limned with sweat. Fevered summer by the river, John McAllister, 15, drunk, swore he'd drive me to the top of the hill, up and over. Easy, he said, lifted my hair off my neck as I leaned against him in his mother's station wagon. River of rock beyond the hill, and what was under. River of fever, fever of river, his hands in my hair, dirt and gravel sputtering under the wheels of the car. His tongue tasted like metal sunk in mud. I picture the rockets drifting on the river floor, lost ships in a bottle. Tell the stories, when all the children of New Orleans have already left. When I kick up loose gravel on the path back home. Gone and scatter, scatter and scatter, gone. Thank you.
Ja, okay, klappt.